Hello, Angelika. So it's been years and years
Hello.
since I saw you.
I'm so happy to see you. We're actually met in 2014
And
at the
14. Oh,
rally when the
nice.
war started in Ukraine. So it's so nice to see you again after so many years.
Yeah, that's true. 2014. I remember this. Yeah, the war started in Ukraine. Putin took Crimea at that time, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That was the time. I saw you at the Ukrainian rally in Los Angeles. That's true. Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
finally, it's been years, and I've been in Ukraine for 10 years now, and came back, 3 years ago, before the war started, actually. And
Welcome back.
yeah, thank you. So. So what do you think of all of this things that's going on with Trump?
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking what I think about Trump. Well, I live here for 15 years and I saw the difference when Trump was president and what happened after he left. Um, so I'm positive that he's going to make a difference, and it is time to bring our country back to the feet because first of all our economy is not good, and the main problem right now for us Ukrainians that immigrated to the United States. We're all watching and supporting Ukraine, but it's time to stop the war. And this is my opinion, and I think Donald Trump definitely is the one who is going to stop this madness because just to give money to support and give left and right, this is not a solution. Russia is not stopping, obviously, and there is a lot of people in Ukraine, unfortunately, already gone. And I have friends and people that I know that already they're not with us. And I truly believe and hope that Donald Trump uh, will stop all that. And finally, there is going to be a peaceful life for Ukrainians and for whole country.
Yeah, I mean, just to let everybody know, I mean, you born in Kherson, right? Somewhere there.
Yes, so I'm born in Kherson, and I was in Ukraine until age of 17, and then I immigrated to United States. I'm American citizen, and I'm proud American. I love this country, but I don't forget where my roots coming from. And I do have relatives, and I still have friends who still live in Ukraine. And the war right now is going on in the territory where I'm coming from. And it's scary because unfortunately they're not showing how drones flying in my city, and people scared to get out from their homes because drones dropping the leaves that explode.
Mm.
And there's also a lot of animals that on the streets, and I'm helping people, elderly and children and animals in my hometown where I'm coming from. So it's very sad. There is a lot of injuries. There is a lot of children who lost their parents. There is elderly people, and the humanitarian aid doesn't really go there much because right now it's very dangerous on the streets. And but we still have people and volunteers who's still living there, and they're risking their lives to continue mission of helping those who needs help.
Yeah, yeah. My wife and I, we also did this fundraising when the war started. And our goal was actually very similar. We helped women with children. That's what we did. And since men couldn't leave, right? So we helped women and children and transfer them to Europe and the States, and we paid their expenses and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of people who did this. I know about 5 different friends who did the same. It's just an effort. It's a terrible situation. I mean, overall, the whole thing about war, when it started, I mean, it started in 2014. People forget that.
Yeah.
It didn't start in
Yeah.
2022. And you know, I actually when Biden came to power, uh, and then Zelensky was in power, it was a perfect combination. And I remember I said to my wife, and Elena, I said, "Look, it's going to be war for sure," because Biden.
That's what I said too.
Yeah, because I said Biden wants to have wars, and Zelensky has no clue. He can't, he's not a diplomat, and I just thought that this was going to be the disaster. And actually, uh, when we came to the States, we came to Texas, right? And I lived in LA before, but the schooling and all that stuff. When we came to the States, I had to go back to Ukraine because of the school. We opened the school there. And I had to go back in the beginning of February of 2022. I flew in, and the vibe of Ukraine was very kind of strange at that time. But I remember
Mhm.
Zelensky was on TV, and he said, "Oh, it's not going to be a war. There's nothing going to happen. Everything's going to
Yeah.
be fine." And I remember Biden says, "Well, it's going to be a war," and he's like, "No, it's not going to be a war. With France, it's the same people. Why would Russia invade Ukraine? Things like that." And then we had to go back on the 26th of February, but the war started on the 24th. So we canceled the plans and we kind of stuck in Texas. And we had a little baby at that time. So, yeah, it's kind of a strange situation, isn't it? Very
Yeah.
strange. And, like people, you and I, it's kind of weird also because when you're outside of Ukraine and it started and you feel helpless, it's sort of, it's extremely hard thing to do. A lot
Yes.
of actually Ukrainians don't understand how hard it is. It's morally hard. It's like your heart aches, right? You can't do anything. You can't breathe. You just cry all the time, nonstop, and you can't do anything, right? It's not you on flight or flee kind of like mode. You're basically helpless.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah,
And after a few days, I just went and, volunteer and like pack all the boxes to Ukraine. There's a lot of organizations
yeah,
in LA, and the most what break my heart is that the city that I'm coming from Kherson, we got betrayed. While all the embassies and all politicians and their families was leaving the country, you know, it was not announced that the war is starting, and my city was betrayed. There was no military, and our city was occupied. And I remember I had a friend from Odessa, and she donated her SUV, and then later we purchased another SUV, and we had to evacuate children and women because children and women were raped, and killed, and it was terrible. It was terrible, and every trip the drivers was making through the fields, I couldn't sleep like until I hear back from the driver that he brought people to the destination where they're safer. Uh, and like that, my city was occupied for 9 months. There was no humanitarian aid. All the corridors was closed. People were starving. There was no medication. So what we did with the driver is I would send money. He would purchase stuff, food, medication. He would come to occupied zone, give it to people, and then pick up people from there. It is terrible, and I'm very sad that all this myths, like they don't show much about it, what really war is, and but there is a lot of movies right now that Ukrainian producers, directors filmed, so you can see
yeah,
how it goes.
yeah. It's terrible. And I remember we had some emails from her son as well. I remember this specific girl. She was like 24 years old, and she was starving. She couldn't go outside. So basically, what we did, we had volunteers on the ground. It's like, it's like World War II kind of thing. And then they put the package of food into something different. I remember, and we sent it over, and it was through the basement. She got back to her apartment. It was like disaster, disaster, disaster. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. There are so many stories, like from people that you know, and I remember I couldn't stop crying for first 2 years.
Yeah,
I didn't sleep. It was horrible.
yeah, yeah,
And it's still horrible because there is so many guys fighting, and unfortunately, they're already forcing. They're picking up guys from the streets and sending them to the front lines,
yeah. I've been
which
telling this. Yeah, I've been. I have friends in the army as well, and then for example, I'm from the western part of Ukraine, right? From Kalush and all that stuff. And in Frankivsk, what they do, if you don't have any connections to the government or to police, they basically hunt you down if you're a guy. And what they've done, I remember there was one guy. He had an epilepsy. He actually is an epileptic. He was 21. They didn't care. They just put him in a bus and put him in the front. You know, I saw that, and in my family as well. I mean, my mother-in-law, my wife's mother died, and then she's in Severodonetsk, right, which is occupied. And then her grandmother, we tried to help as much as possible. She didn't want to leave, and she was in the basement the whole until May, I think, which is like February, March, April, May, in the basement. No food, no water. They drink snow, and things like that. And sometimes we had the connection, so we spoke on the phone, and the bombs would fly and all that stuff. And then in May she moved back to her apartment on the fourth floor, and the bomb exploded, and it just shook her against another wall, and now she's blind and paralyzed. And she has Parkinson on top of it. Yeah, but the thing is, she's kind of used to, like, I'm happy. We speak to her now. She can't see anything. She's like, oh, I'm happy. It's all good. It's unbelievable.
most important, she's home. Probably that's what she's happy.
Yeah, and that's also what people don't realize. That older women, older people, they don't want to leave. It's just something they used to their home, they used to their land, and they don't want to leave. Why would they leave, right?
Same happened to my dad. Like I told him, well, listen, let's move you maybe to different city, but he said, no, this is my home, and I'm not leaving. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean,
He said, if it's meant for me to die, I'm gonna die. If
yeah,
not,
exactly right. Yeah, exactly that. There's a lot of that. You know, my friends. I have two classmates that were volunteers in the army, my age. They're just from college. They went in. Good friends, and they showed me the stories, and they were right in the front line against shooting all that stuff. So I've seen it all, how scary it is, and the conditions are horrible, and they don't have, even though there is the army with money and all that stuff. But he showed me, for example, the uniform, right? So his uniform is already half broken and all that stuff, right? But he can't get a new one because it's bureaucracy, and
yeah.
that he basically is looking for donation. That's what he did. He wants to fight, but that's the way, you know.
Well, if you remember at the beginning of the war, how the guys was going to the front lines, they didn't even had military shoes.
No, that's nothing. Yeah, yeah. They
Unfortunately, there is a lot of corruption going on, and all the stuff the world should know
Yeah, that's
about.
that's a thing that's not known, because the whole idea. I remember when the war started. Remember, Biden refused to do anything. He didn't want to help at all, and for some reason, people forget that very quickly.
Mhm.
He didn't do anything until May. Basically, for 4 months, Ukrainians fought with bare arms. There's nothing. and people were fleeing like crazy, millions of people. I had to remind people that it was 15 million refugees, which is compared to World War II for 6 years, there was 11 million refugees, displaced people. So this is way more. And
Yeah.
then on top of it, I was one of the guys who was translating the Putin's narrative because nobody believed in the states, especially CNN and all the stuff. They kind of no, no, no. It's not invasion. It's an internal conflict and things like that, right? So it was probably given from above, not to do anything, you know.
Yeah.
And then because of internet, I started to show these kind of things with
Hmm.
English subtitles, what's going on, what actually is going on. Even Russians didn't believe it. I remember they said, "What Z? We don't have any Z on our tanks," all that kind of things, right? Nobody believed it. It was
I
based on
have,
the power of
yeah,
internet that we did it. That's how we did it. That's how people knew in the States that actually what's going on.
I have a very interesting story to share.
Hmm.
Well, it's not interesting, it's very sad. But speaking of the fake news,
Yeah.
so on March 1st, so when the Kherson was occupied, I used to go to school, and the teacher of the school that when I was there, she became a principal of my school, and that was hiding, in bombshells, and her son, his wife was pregnant, and they had a little baby there. So they were in the basement, and he went out from there to go to apartment to get food for them, and there was snipers on the buildings. So he got killed, and he got killed so terrible that little pieces of his bodies was like, you know, all over. So when my teacher, now she's the principal of the school, when my teacher ran there, that was filming, and she wanted to show with the world what happened. And this is her son. She lost her son, and the boy is my age, 1 year younger than me. And when I uploaded her video and I told them, listen, people, this is the reality, what is happening in my country right now, and this is the people that I know. And the mother picking up pieces of the body of her son from the ground, to and pregnant woman and child have no father anymore. My video went so viral, and after 24 hours, it was taken down. But before that, I was reading comments, and there was a lot of comments that says that it's not fake news and it's not true.
Yeah.
This is fake news. Yeah, and then my video just disappeared,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it
I mean,
went.
as far as the fake news, I was sharing about Ukraine, the truth from the start of Ukrainian war until May, and then in May I posted a video on Facebook
Mhm.
about the Wagner Group, and it's actually somebody in Wagner Group. They filmed themselves, right? And it leaked down, and then Ukrainians got the video, and they sent it to me, and they were saying how the white supremacists and everybody should be white Russian in the world. They should rule the world and things like that. So I put that video with the subtitles on Facebook, and it went like millions of views right away. But yes, in about 16 hours, I get the warning from Facebook: you've been blocked for 2 years.
Wow.
For 2 years, nothing I can do, nothing. I can post stuff, but nobody can see it.
Wow.
Yeah, so after like 7, 10 million views of videos, I got 2 views, one view, things like that. I tried to do the same thing on YouTube. They blocked me right
Mhm.
away, right away. It's just they didn't. It's like I published it and right away they blocked me. So there is no information I could do, and that's May of 2022.
Mhm.
So and then I couldn't do anything. So in fact, because I'm a musician, so I post my music on social media and things like that. So I couldn't do that either. Right?
Wow.
I just couldn't do it. So even if I had to do a show and promote the show, I couldn't use media for that. I just had to do it on the radio in the city that I'm playing tonight here and there. So, but that's how my suspicion at that time was, well, why would Facebook do that? So do they have narrative from above not to show
Mhm.
that Russia is doing any atrocities, right? So
Mhm.
that kind of became suspicious to me. It's like, what is going on? Is actually Biden doing this? And then, as Zuckerberg later, like maybe as soon as Trump became president on January 20th, he did interview for Joe Rogan. I'm not sure if you saw it, and he says, "Well, it was a
No.
directive from Biden administration. They told us to block certain things without any
Yeah.
explanation. Otherwise, they'll be in trouble, whatever it is. So and they had to do it. So that's like censorship. Like I grew up in Soviet Union. You're a little bit younger than me. I remember these kind of things. You can't. I remember when Brezhnev
No
was
freedom. No freedom of speech. Yeah.
no freedom at all. I remember. Uh, I remember my brother is older than me, and in 1982, I remember something like that. 1982, my brother got so he loved music and Western music, and he got a record of Pink Floyd, a Pink Floyd record, and it's called Final Cut, and it was a cover of a guy. I think it was a, a Soviet guard on the border with a knife in the back, and says about Afghanistan because Pink Floyd became very political at that time. So he just got on the black market in Frankivsk, and we listening to it because I love music, and I'm like, oh, this is so nice. And we have a knock in the door, and about 2 days later, two guys in black suits, with a hat, and it's like I opened the door, I didn't know what was going on, and they asked me, "Is my mom or dad around?" My mom was, and they talked to her, and then she was all like this. After this, apparently that was KGB, and they told
Oh,
her that we know that you are because my mom family was sent to Caucasus because they were priests, right? And during the Stalin regime, priests were forbidden, right? So and she was like scaring like that. It's like, oh my God, what you did? And she threw this record out of the balcony.
oh my God.
They told her you have illegal, was it capitalistic information or something like that? Pink Floyd, I remember this to this day. And then obviously we had these conversations in school. I was brought to school because I was kind of questioning things,
Mhm.
until the Soviet Union collapsed. I mean, when Gorbachev came to power in '86, it was a little bit better, but still, you can. But before that, it was kind of what Biden was doing. It's the same. You can't say anything. It sort of looks like 21st century. You have internet, but I can't share anything.
No, until until today, I feel like I don't have freedom of speech. Like I'm getting attacked nonstop.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm like, what is going on?
yeah,
Is this America?
yeah,
This
yeah.
the
Exactly.
country that I came.
Yeah, and I came to the States to study music at Berkeley, and I've been here for more than 30 years now. And this is the first time I was like, what the hell is going on? In fact, when we came from Ukraine right before the war in 2022, and I saw what's going on in the States, I couldn't believe how depressing it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ukraine was more fun with the war going on. Then coming here, it was like, what is going on? And everybody's angry. They're not happy. Nobody's smiling. You can't have a
Yeah.
conversation. You can't get jobs because they look at your Facebook and you said something. So it's like
Yeah.
it's just bizarre. It's sort of like it's worse than Soviet Union, in fact. I remember that stuff. It's worse because in Soviet Union you still had fun. I had fun. I'm not sure if you did. I had fun, as a baby and all that stuff. And I lived in Siberia even, with my parents in '70s. So still I had, some kind of access to things, and music was better, to be honest, than now. And
Oh
all of that
yeah.
stuff. It's just, and it became bizarre to me, really bizarre. And now, if I speak and I said, look, like for example, Ukrainians, so there are two types of Ukrainians now we have, right? So
Hmm.
one type is the ones who fighting, right? And they are tired, the ones who killed, the ones who are compassionate, who want to end this war because it's endless and there's no end to it.
It's endless, yeah.
endless, and we need
It's
to.
no matter how much money will be
It
sent to
doesn't matter.
Ukraine to support Ukraine, it's endless. I cannot understand how people cannot understand that. And few more months and it's it. Ukraine is gonna be gone.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
I don't understand.
yeah, because the narrative was when Biden was in power, the narrative was that if Ukraine fails, then everybody fails, right? So it's like if Ukraine doesn't fight back, then it's going to be
Mhm.
the end of it in 2 days or something like that, right? So they kept doing these things, but that's kind of reminding me of Afghanistan scenario as well. The endless kind of thing against Soviet Union. So, and the bottom line is nobody will go to World War III with a nuclear war. Nobody,
No.
unless you're insane, completely insane person, right?
Mhm.
No France, no UK, no Germany, nobody in their right mind would like to have a complete annihilation of humanity. It just makes no sense. You have to be completely dumb
Yep.
in order to think that. So what is the outcome? So I understand that I said that before. I understand that Ukraine was used as a buffer against Russia, and in order to economically weaken Russia, right? And they thought that's going to be the case. Remember how Biden says, "Oh, Putin now in trouble." In fact, the economy actually boomed, right? Because they put every economy on military industrial complex, so it actually makes more jobs, more exports, and the more you shoot the bullets, the better you have that economy going because there is more demand, right? So it's actually quite wrong. And then Russia has oil and gas and stuff, and everybody wants it. So it's just it's endless. It's a complete endless, and then nobody will do. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that uh, you know nuclear warheads will go to Russia. I mean, makes no sense. I mean, anybody who's saying this is completely idiot. And then
Yeah.
as far as going forward, so what's next? I mean, and when Trump said that he wants to end war to Ukraine, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna vote for him. And like, finally, the guy who sees peace, not war, right?
Hmm.
And remember how
Hmm.
Zelensky, when he got to power, he said, I'll be speaking with the devil to make sure it's going to be peace." Remember that?
Yeah. He
He said, "I
lied.
promise you, the war no more." Right in
Hmm.
2019, he said on TV, "That's it. I promise you, I finished this war. It's all Poroshenko. It's his buddies. All this kind of crap."
Yeah, and it got worse. So.
Yeah, and it got worse and worse and worse. It got worse and worse and worse. And people forget that. And now he is basically a little boy between the powers and has no clue. But because the people, especially the Western leaders, told him that he's the symbol of freedom and things like that, and he's walking as a symbol, right? Without thinking of Ukrainians. That's what I think.
Mhm.
If he doesn't want
Yeah.
to have peace and he thinks it's about the security, well, what kind of security he wants? He wants NATO. I mean, yeah, right. I won a Ferrari yesterday.
In my opinion, the real leader, he would never let his country down like that.
I agree. I agree.
And he's not the leader
No, no.
if he
He
let
cares
this
less.
happen. Because, if some danger come to my home, to my children, I'm gonna do anything to
Yep.
make sure that they're protected.
Yep.
And that's exactly what the leader, the true leader, have to do for his country. That's why people choosing him.
Yep.
They trust their lives.
To
They
be safe.
trust
Yeah. To be
to
safe.
to have a peaceful life. Yeah. So, and to be honest, from very beginning, I was too like I was like a zombie, because from everything what was going on, and at some moment. I was too like sucked in all this, brainwashing information. But then I was like, wait a second, and then I put puzzles together. I was like, whoa, no, he is not good leader that he let this happen.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It's very simple. I agree with you. I mean, they speak the same language, Putin and Zelensky. It's Russian. They speak Russian. I mean, you're Russian speaking also from your son.
Let's talk about Russian. Zelensky all his life spoke Russian.
All his life.
Oh,
He
he's
said
lying.
we are the same people, Russia and Ukraine. In fact, he was anti-Ukrainian in many, many, many stances, as you
Of
remember that. He was like, people
course.
don't know this in the West. He made fun of Ukrainians as stupid Ukrainians, basically. That's what he's all this films and all that stuff he's doing, you know. And then I remember his interviews. He's like, well, we are the same people. Russia. It's stupid that we would fight. That would never happen. That's why he thought that Poroshenko was this kind of strange Bandera thing guy, you know, and he is the guy who's guilty in everything possible that Ukraine has. But now we know the truth, and the truth is he's dumb. He's dumb. He's not patriotic because you're absolutely right. If he was patriotic, he would make peace a long time ago. He had opportunities. He had opportunities. You know, he went to Paris. Remember, he went to Paris,
Hmm.
right? And by the way, of Kherson, he took all the mines out of Kherson, right? That Poroshenko did. So he did that with Bakanov and everybody else, you know. So and the same with Mariupol, you know, with Azov Sea, he took the mines out after Poroshenko. I mean, he did all of that, and then he basically says, "Well, you know, fuck you, Putin," and what? I mean,
Yeah.
you have to be an idiot, right? You have to be an idiot. So that means either he's dumb or he's corrupt, either or.
I think that he just get hired, you know.
Yeah,
This is my opinion,
yeah,
and I think he's very corrupted, and he's just. It's there is some plan. I believe it was planned, and whatever has happened, you know, is.
yeah. There is a plan of politicians and countries and things like that. I understand it.
But look, every 100 years there's wars. Yeah, and
Yeah, the wars are made for political gains. That's all it is. And the corruption is huge, as you see now. Doge is exposing the corruption. I saw yesterday, Musk said he's afraid to say publicly what he found, how politicians make millions. He said this yesterday. He said he's afraid to say this because he's afraid for his life. So that's how corruption works, you know. And
yeah,
I think this war, it's one of the means to make money, you know.
it is.
Yeah,
It's
that's
true.
they care less. I really think that Biden and his buddies, they give shit about Ukrainians. They really give shit. They don't care. They
Yeah,
really didn't care. You know, they just wanted to make sure that they have their agenda. Zelensky, in my opinion, you know, he's probably a passionate guy. You know, I saw he's a passionate guy. He understands. He's kind of like a little boy. Oh my God, the bomb's coming in, so give me something to defend. Which is, I mean, it's the first reaction, normal reaction. But the second reaction should be, as a president, as you said, he's the responsible human being for the entire human lives. So have to think about that, right? So what do you do? So if people tell him that you have to go and kill more Ukrainians, I mean, then he's not responsible. He's not
yeah.
responsible.
I also can't believe that the propaganda worked so crazy that if you're a Trump supporter or if you voted for Trump, that means you're supporting Putin. And this is like the funniest thing. And
Yeah,
you know what? And people like ships, you know, somebody they put this information and everybody, yes, 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 it's true. But in reality, I know so many Ukrainians, I know so many people who voted for Trump, and they believe that he is finally gonna put end to this.
yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
The propaganda in Ukraine, because I saw it, is way worse than here. Even the propaganda is one-sided propaganda. You have to understand
well, this
there is no
Smith was
journalism in Ukraine. What's that?
this Smith was purchased way before the war. So yeah, that was
Yeah, I mean the propaganda is huge, and you have to understand. I mean, all these newspapers, the big ones like and the news, which is basically propaganda assets, but CNN, and then you have the even Fox News was propaganda on the right at one point. So basically, the CNN, all of these news, they all sit in major cities like New York City, LA, right? So that's not representation of America, really. I lived in New York City and I lived in LA. It's a bubble city. It's a bubble of their own things. You know, there's a joke in New York. Have you been to New Jersey? He's like, no, I don't go to America. So basically, they sit in their cities and they never know anything else. Like, for example, in LA, go and ask people how they live in Iowa. They don't, they have no idea. If
Yeah.
you like, if you go to somewhere, the actual country, Wyoming or something, just see how people think, what they breathe. They don't know. Neither New Yorkers know LA, but that's the news. And these guys go get the journalist degrees, and then they go get employed. If you go with their agenda, whatever it is, right? So, and it's a one-sided kind of thing. So, and yes, there is money involved, corruption involved, but overall culture of those cities is very, very different than, again, you go to like, Galveston or something, in Texas, or go to like, Louisiana somewhere. It's a completely different mentality. You know, and that's how these news are targeted, because they feel that they are part of that, right? And there is a lot of also Europeans who have different mentality than Americans do, right? It's a different mentality. It's more
Yeah.
social mentality. Americans don't have that social mentality. They never had anything like that. They never had kings. They actually fought against the king. So there was never that thing. So American mentality is very, very, very different. But all these
Very
countries, they
good.
think they tell Americans that they're wrong because they don't understand what Americans want, right? So that's the whole idea of freedom, how we define freedom, right? Like freedom of speech, like you and I. I came to this country because I loved it in 1995, 1996, 96. I remember in the 90s, it was coming like to a magic country. It was magical.
Yeah.
Everybody was smiling. They were kind. They were, there was nothing. Everybody was making fun of everybody. If somebody was too serious about things. It was great country,
Yeah.
really great.
I
I love it.
I feel the difference too.
Yeah,
And I actually moved from Los Angeles a little bit farther because I have kids, and with all this happening, Los Angeles became not safe. There's a lot of lootering. My friend's house got looted 3 times. 3 times. This is crazy. They keep coming back to her house, and all this homeless and drug addicts on the streets.
yeah.
I just didn't feel safe for my children anymore. So I moved a little bit to America now.
Exactly that point, right?
And I'm very
So,
happy. And my kids safe, they
yeah,
can run outside, and I don't need to like watch them and scared that somebody gonna steal them, or some crazy person gonna attack them.
isn't it crazy that we came to the world now that the president has to go in his speech and say there's on the official stance of America, there's only two genders. I mean, that's crazy that the
It
president
is
has to say
crazy.
that. It's
It is.
just it's insanity,
I can't
it's
even believe that. Like we have to talk about it. I mean,
no,
look,
I know.
don't take me wrong. I have friends from LGBT, and I love them. They're amazing people, but whoever, what you do when you're home, it's your business. Like I
Yeah,
don't need to know. I need,
absolutely.
like I love you for who you are. I don't care what gender you want to be or who you want to become. But when it comes that far, when they make it so official, oh, you can be it, you can be them, and they come to the school and they putting in my child that she can change her gender, like she don't have to think about it. She
I
have to
know.
think about who she wants to be when she grow up.
Yeah.
She have to think like she have to learn how to write, how to count. Why she have to like think about this stuff that it's crazy. It's crazy. And I was watching a president 2 days ago, and I had same thought. I can't believe we're talking about it. Like
Yeah.
I can't believe
It's
that.
like these are the
And the bathroom
Uh,
situation that they change, for any gender. Why some kids or women supposed have to go to a restroom and they're scared? What if they come out and they will get pushed back and raped and stuff? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
you
crazy. I
know,
mean, I
and this
have,
is a green light for those sick people, pedophiles or
yeah.
uh, crazy people who's doing crazy stuff. This is not okay.
No, it's not okay. I think redefining biology because for political gains is pretty evil, especially to children. I think it's pretty evil. I have 3 kids now, and they perfect. Let them play and see what's going on. It's fine. Let them concentrate on making the world better. Invent stuff. That helps people. Cure cancer or something. Not changing stupid.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just insanity. It's just. I think it's just. I think honestly, it's dumbing down agenda. So people should be stupid basically, and relying heavily on government decisions, and that's it, right? And you have no say because I saw that it was going that way. I really did. It kind of reminiscent of this socialist communist idea, and there is no outcome, and then the guys on the top control everything, right? And that's how the government grows, and the tyranny of the government. Remember the tyranny of the government? It's like actually Marx said that tyranny of the government. Lenin also, but they actually do that over and over and over. It's kind of strange, and by the way, if I talk to Ukrainian and I said, yeah, I voted for Trump, they right away, you're right. The majority of the guys who don't know me, they right away say, "Oh, he's a fascist. He's a Russian thing," and so you're a fascist too if I vote. So basically, I said, so 77 million Americans fascists, right?
Yeah.
And we all fascists because we want peace in Ukraine. That's fascism. So just think about it, right? That's fascism. Now, fascism that we say there is 2 genders. That's huge fascism, right?
Hmm.
That's huge fascism. That's just like it's fascistic state. Then my family is all fascist because we have children and we eat cereal in the morning. So and then and then and then things like, for example, I'll give you an example. When Trump said, "Hey, Canada should be a 51st state because we give," so basically the alignment of the trade is off, right? So it's like 215 billion or something a year, and then the old Chinese, Japanese companies open factories there, right? And then with no tariffs, they come here, right? And then obviously kills. I mean, you don't have to be scientist to understand how it works. It's very simple. It's nothing. But my point is, a friend of mine who I grew up with, in college, and he lives in Kiev, and he's the CEO of a big company, and he said, well, he's a fascist because he said that. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's a fascist. He wants to have tariffs. That's fascism. He's like, yes, because he wants to annex Canada. He's like, well, no. He said it would be easier if it was a 51st state. And the point is, Trump has good sense of humor. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and nobody from the left sees it. They don't. They just
No.
basically. And he says things because that's fun. It's fun.
By the way, you know what? When he said, do you remember when they were talking, Zelensky and Donald Trump,
Yeah,
and Zelensky said, support Ukraine,
yeah.
and Trump clearly said, I don't support nobody. I support United States. Do you
Yes. Oh yeah,
remember?
yeah. Yeah, he said, "I'm not aligned with anybody, just American people."
I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not aligned with
Yeah,
anybody. I'm from my country. Yeah.
yeah.
1 minute later, I got notification on my phone. It's a Ukrainian group that I am in to follow the news in Ukraine. And the notification shows that Donald Trump announced that he supports Putin. Can you believe that? And I was talking to my friend from Ukraine.
Yeah.
She's a volunteer and she texting me, Angelica, what's going on? Oh my God, what's going on? Like we're packing bags. We're gonna go. I'm not gonna be again occupied. Like I don't want to be occupied. I don't want my city Nikolaev be Russia. I'm like, calm down. I said he never said that. This is not true. I was
Yeah,
like, do you watch? Do you watch like? What is going on right now on TV? She's like, well, they didn't showing us everything, only like pieces, and they said that Trump
exactly.
supports Putin. I was like, he never
Exactly.
said that. What he said is, for the leader, you have to be in a good relationship with everybody, and he was right when he said, Zelensky, how you want me to fix this problem if now I'm gonna go against Russia, like to write a peaceful document need to have a normal relationship with everybody so we can have conversation, correct?
Yeah.
Not like, oh, I'm against you, but hey, stop the war.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Never gonna work like that. You have to stay diplomatic and
Yeah.
you know this is my opinion again.
No, no,
And
I share your opinion. And in fact, I spoke to Ukrainians who are afraid to express their opinion in Ukraine. They are afraid because
yeah,
they.
tomorrow probably all my friends gonna be gone from my Instagram and from my
No,
life.
no. I think it's important for us to speak because there's you know it's very clear that Putin is a thug, KGB monster, and a killer. There's no doubt about it.
There is no doubt.
There's no doubt
Yeah.
about it. I mean, that's all it is. And Trump knows that. But in order to make a deal with anybody for the sake of saving lives, yes, you do have to make a deal. Even if you don't like somebody, you still have to have a deal.
Even if you don't like somebody, yeah.
Exactly.
And
If
this
you don't
is
like somebody, you
thi-
don't have to kill them, right? So, but you have to
and
you
this
have to
is
make
how
sure. Okay.
leaders supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. So
Not
that's the idea, and that's what I mean. The propaganda was so huge. I'll give you the example of propaganda. Uh, so Trump said on his social network, whatever it is, that it's illegal to have demonstrations sponsored by universities, right? And wearing burqas during that time. And so the Ukrainian news take that quote and and they say, "Oh, look at this! Now the universities don't have rights and the freedom to have a demonstration." But they actually missed the part. It's anti-Israeli demonstrations, right? So basically, anti-Semitic movement that was,
uh-huh.
and it was sponsored by universities. No, that's illegal. And he said, I'll stop the funding to these universities, and those guys have to go to their countries. There's anti-Semitism illegal in America, right? So they don't say that. I'll give you an example. Also, I think it was before yesterday. Uh, there's blogger, a huge blogger, Volodymyr Omelyan. There's a guy called Volodymyr Omelyan, and he took a picture of Melania, just a picture of Melania from internet, and he says Melania wants to make a law that forbids the pictures of naked people online. That's all he says, and it's like thousands of sharing, and people laughing and say, "Oh, Americans so stupid, undemocratic. These are just complete fascists," right? And the fact was that Melania, as you probably know, she's one of the authors of the law that forbids deep fake for pornography. What that means, for example, if you have a picture of anybody, you go to AI, the AI will do your pornographic video, and you can post it on Pornhub and things like that, right? And then by doing so, then people don't know if it's true or not, but you already mocked for life. So basically, you have no jobs. People will say, "Oh, that's what you do," and things like that, right? So, and it's terrible, especially for little girls. Imagine, like I have a daughter now, so imagine that would be, I don't know how would she recover from that, right? So,
You know,
but this guy
I
Amelyan, this guy
yeah.
Amelyan, he gives a shit about it, and then he's asking money from the same people, like Melania, to protect Ukraine. I mean, it had to be oxymoron to understand. So I don't understand what the outcome is. If you truly want to work and have American people, because it's not Trump deciding, it's American people decided what Trump
American
should do,
people.
so, and American people, including me, I want peace. So
Hmm.
talk to us and say, yes, let's make peace, right? This is what we want. But it seems to me there are things behind the scenes, right? I suspect it's Democratic left, whatever it is, the elites, they want Ukraine to keep going.
Yeah,
They don't give a shit about Ukrainians. Keep going. Let them. They don't know what the money they will get. Obviously, the American economy is in shit, and we know that, right?
it is. Yeah.
The eggs and $15. My health insurance, it's over the roof.
Hmm.
I mean, what do I pay for my taxes? I don't understand this.
Hmm.
Roads are shit. Health insurance, I can't do it, and I have basically 5 people in my family, right? So imagine the expenses, and I'm living in super expensive state too, and the city. So what else do I do? But nobody gives a shit about it, right? Because they created this kind of a symbol, Zelensky for freedom, and the Ukrainians are fierce fighters and fighting for freedom. And nobody asks Ukrainians how they feel. Nobody cares about it, right? And they put from up and down from the news, including in Ukraine. And as you know, in Ukraine, huge corruption as well.
Yeah.
You know, I've been telling people, look, it's not moral to do that. They go to cafe, bars, they have luxury cars. They bought more luxury cars last year than the year before.
Hmm.
And then Bukovel, which is like the what is it? It's like sort of like Courchevel of Ukraine, right? So it's a resort like sort of like Aspen thing, right? It's booming. Prices are huge. Dinner costs you 60, $100, and they have no problem with that. No problem. It's like two realities, and I'm not good with that. I mean, if you think, well, we have to support the economy of Ukraine, well, then don't take that money from us that we earning. If you
Hmm.
have good economy, then fund your war. If you say so there is no economy, then yes, then you have to show there is no economy, and then the help will come, right? So it's just you have to be honest and humble, but none of that is happening. I really do, and I speak with a couple of guys in the front lines, and everybody's telling me they tired, and one guy says to me, majority consensus of our guys that number one enemy in Ukraine not Russia but Zelensky. That's what they told me.
Mm.
See, so that's getting to that point that they can't handle it anymore. You know,
Yeah.
so imagine how these guys who are fighting because they're fighting for Ukraine, they're not fighting for the ass of Zelensky.
Exactly.
So
And I'm a sister of a veteran of the war, so this is the reality. Yes, and there are a lot of guys from military. They're not supporting Zelensky.
yeah, but they're still fighting, right?
Mm.
So
But they're fighting for their children.
for their children, right?
Yeah.
Their children. It's not for Zelensky, but they twist it as this as Zelensky's Jesus Christ, so to speak. But the fact is, he's a right now, because I actually thought when he stood for Ukraine and make sure that the help is coming and all that stuff, he was becoming a hero because I didn't like him before because he was anti-Ukrainian. All his life he was anti-Ukrainian. He was pro-Russian all the time. So and then all of a sudden he kind of switched. I'm like, okay, well maybe it's good, you know. But then as we see, what's the outcome? Anyways, it's kind of interesting how we live in a world of hate, the warmongering. Everybody wants war. If you speak about peace, you're a bad guy.
Yeah.
It's like this: if you speak about peace, that means you a Russian troll.
Yeah.
It's like that. So if you want to have peace, that means you pro-Russian. I mean,
Yeah, like I mentioned that to
yeah,
you 2 days ago. I'm like, listen, I don't feel like I'm having freedom of speech. Like the people start attacking me, writing me like big poems of some information, like and how bad person I am. I'm like, oh my god, are you serious? I came to this country, we worked hard,
yeah,
like What I'm paying taxes, I'm a good citizen, I'm helping people, children, animals. What's bad about me? You know, I
Well,
have a lot of
I've been
I have
told
a lot of
yesterday.
questions to the Democrats, but this, how we have saying, if you want to keep your friendship, better not to talk with your friend about politics or religion.
Yeah, yeah,
So the people that are really value, I try to avoid these conversations because we have different opinions, but I still love you. Like, I don't want to fight with you about.
exactly. Yeah, but the point is, when you say, "Well, yeah, Trump is doing things," you're going to be attacked. It's not. I'm not attacking anybody, but I've been attacked. Right?
I've been attacked too. I'm not
No,
attacking anybody.
no,
I'm
no.
being attacked.
Yeah, it's sort
And
of like
all
a
these
cult. Yeah,
messages that provocacy,
yeah.
yeah, they're trying to
They provoke
push
you
your
to. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, they
exactly.
try to push your buttons, like, so you explode. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not doing that. You're not gonna get what you're asking for. No,
No, no. I mean,
I just don't
I
want
have
to
a.
waste my time with all that. I'm just keep working. I keep doing what I have to do, and that's it. I don't have time and energy for
Exactly.
nonsense. You're never gonna put in my head your opinion. I never gonna put in your head, what I think. You have your own opinion. I have my own opinion.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's
But
it.
the way, like for example, they assume, like for example, yesterday I had on Instagram a message from a friend, and the message was they mocking Trump about the suit of Zelensky, right? So it's kind of like a video. The Zelensky doesn't wear a suit for White House.
Oh,
So, and it wasn't really funny because they kind of make Americans look stupid again because that's the whole narrative, right? And I said, well, I don't think it's funny, you know. And she said, well, because you probably voted for Trump and you're not here. And the conversation always goes this: how many friends and family you've lost? So it becomes this mentality. If you're not there, you don't understand. And on top of this, if you didn't lose this amount of people, that means you have no. That means you're not right. So is this victim mentality, right? So the more victimized I am, that means I'm right.
hmm
That's the idea. That's going into that direction rather than being prosperous and peaceful, and that's responsible. That's actually very hard to make peace. War is very easy, but the peace and prosperity. I'm a musician, as you know. I have to create stuff. Destroying things is very simple. You just smash things. But to create takes time, energy, and your life, basically, right?
hmm
So, and the victimization, that's exactly what it is destruction because they want to have victimized idea, right? If you
yeah,
victim,
yeah.
that means I'm right no matter
hmm
what, right? So, and that's exactly it's sick. It's sort of like self-destruction in a sense, and then by doing so, then everybody is taking advantage of that, especially Biden people and all this
And
thing.
I don't understand. Is people really that dumb? They don't understand that even like Ukraine never gonna be part of NATO. They don't understand
They don't
that
understand. Mm-mm.
location of it, like it has to be neutral country. There is no way
There is
that.
no. I mean, technically speaking, the Ukrainian geography is in Black Sea, which is Russian submarines, right, in Crimea. Now, how do they expect NATO to be? The only way to have NATO is kick Russian submarines out of Crimea,
Mhm.
right? And then it's going to be NATO. Well, good luck with that task, right? So how are you going to do? The only way to do this is probably through World War III, right?
Yeah,
And that means the entire world is going to be burned, right? And
yeah,
everybody who's rooting for that, they need to understand they're going to be burned in a second, right? And that's the end of your Starbucks coffee, So, and I don't understand these things, And you, Ukraine is super rich, as you know,
yeah.
super rich. It used to give gas to Russia in 70s. Russia did not export gas. It actually didn't have it. So Ukraine had from Western Ukraine gas going to Russia. The
Our
KGB.
soils are so rich.
Yeah.
Look, uh, how delicious pork we have.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, the food is excellent, right? So, but the bottom line, like even this with the, uh, actually, I have a question, and um, about this deal about the rare earth deals. So the whole argument that Ukrainians have, and here in the left as well, there was no security guarantee. Well, because it's a business deal, right? So, but look at this. So the way they think that any paper they sign with America, any paper, it has to do with NATO.
mm,
But anything they sign, let's say, I want to import cookies. Well, where's the security guarantee that you can protect Ukraine if you want to do business in Ukraine? Right?
mm,
That's the question. Now, the the everybody stated this, right? Everybody stated this from the White House, and everybody else stated this. Look, the rare earth is the way to balance the budget for aid, right? That's how it works. Like, for example, when Churchill came to Roosevelt in 1941, he wanted help, right? Because he couldn't win the Nazis. So Roosevelt didn't want to go to war, right, until the Pearl Harbor with Japanese. But the thing is, Churchill offered his West Indies territory in control to America in exchange to money uh, to Britain, right?
mhm.
Because money is not from the air. Somebody has to create the value of it, right? So, like you and I, we work and we pay taxes, we create the value, right? And that's why
Mhm.
you have money. So, and so this money against this West Indies, that was a balance for the budget, and then they used it for lend lease, right? And lend lease, I think Britain paid it off either late '90s or even 2006. That's how long they paid it off to America, right? So my point is, the money is interest of the
Mhm.
country there. It's like this. I opened a business in Ukraine. I put my own money into it. I'm going to be protecting it.
Mhm.
I went there and I protected. I'm not just
Mhm.
getting money and sitting here. I actually moved to Ukraine because I want to make sure it's working. I
Yeah.
want to make sure it's not corrupt. I want to make sure it's actually delivering the goods and services that I did, right? To make sure that's actually there. So my boots are on the ground. So this is a simple. I mean, I always say this: if you want to be Singapore, open the door to investment.
Mhm.
There is no NATO in Singapore, is it?
Mhm.
There is no NATO in Japan, and they're feeling pretty good.
Mhm.
Right? There is no NATO in South Korea. They're also feeling pretty good. Right? There's many countries that don't have NATO, right? And they don't have
Yeah.
nuclear weapons. You know, and that's my point. That's number one. That's just number. This is just to start conversation with partnering. But nobody's saying this conversation. Nobody's explaining to anybody in Ukraine, especially, and that's why Zelensky feel empowered because people are kept in the dark. So he's stating the narrative that somebody told him. I guarantee you
Yeah.
that because he's not a politician. He has no clue. You know, he's basically a Russian Moscow-based comedian. That's what he is for me, right? That's basically it, and the Soviet kind of mentality he has, which is
Mhm.
far from American mentality. That's why he comes to White House without any consideration of protocols. He doesn't give a shit. It's like I'm here because I'm the freedom, whatever.
Uh-huh. Give me the money.
Give me the money. Yeah. So this is it. And I mean, he even brought Usuk belt. You know, like you saw the belt. He has a.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like some kind of chief from a tribe in Africa will come with his best trophies. You know, why would he do that? Why would he do this? What a boxer has to do with you negotiating a deal with the states? I mean, it's just embarrassing to me. But that shows the level. You know, it really shows the level. Any case, I think this should be over soon, and I think it will be over soon. I really do. I think
I
Trump
have yes,
is not taking
I
chances.
have a
He
good
really,
feeling about it too.
yeah.
So let's just pray and
Yeah, he is
hopefully.
going to do this. He's going to do this no matter what. And we have to help. You know, we have to help Ukrainians who are in need. I mean, what you're doing is extremely important, especially in Kherson. I mean, all these areas is just I know this from Severodonetsk and the whole thing. The thing is, Severodonetsk is occupied. It's much harder, where Kherson is not. But you're absolutely right. So we have to keep those people on feet because nobody's going to help them. I know that.
No.
And in Ukraine, if you don't live in Kiev and have no connection, I mean, you're screwed basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's nothing you can do. So can you tell me about your fund? What you're doing right now? Like, what are you doing now? Like after all, so it's been 3 years. So tell me what's going on.
So what I'm doing now, well, when the war started, I was volunteering, and we was like packing aid to Ukraine. That actually we don't even know if you get there.
That's
this
true.
is
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is how I open my nonprofit organization and start to send and like see exactly where it goes. Getting reports. And so I opened a nonprofit organization, and we help elderly, children, orphanage homes, and animals. I actually just took a cat from Kherson. She's living with me right now.
Oh,
She's
kidding.
so sweet. No.
How do you transport through Poland or something?
So I had to hire agency, and the cat went from Kherson to Odessa, and then from Odessa to
Got it.
Europe, and then they put her to one plane, then another, and then she got here.
That's why you keep
And
telling me that you have tons of animals in your house.
yeah,
Now I
but
understand.
what we do, we're just the animals that there, they had to get operation, so and they need to eat and everything. So my volunteers, my friends, they're looking for people who can adopt, and they're helping them to support this animal, so to bring
Mm,
food, like vaccines, this and that.
mm,
And we're helping a lot of children, orphanage homes, like holidays. We bringing them gifts, like either I'm getting it here
mhm.
or we're buying it there in Ukraine. We're also getting humanitarian aid for the hospitals, so I'm sending
Yeah.
stuff to the hospitals as well. There is a lot of projects that I want to start as well, and even after the war is over, we have already projects that we started, but we need more funds for that. So it's basically therapy for children with
Oh,
animals.
yeah.
And it works. It works for me because when I'm going to farm, I feel so much better after, I hug with animals. It's true magic what animals
Yeah.
does.
Well, I can
And
imagine. I mean, you are absolutely right. I didn't even think now about it. I mean, it- the therapy probably needed for every child there now.
yeah, child and adults.
Yeah, and adults too. But
Uh,
children, I mean, I just can't imagine. I mean,
We
growing up
already,
in a
yeah,
home.
we already had in 2014. We already did four programs like that.
Hmm.
So there was conotherapy with the horses and goats there, and then the kids do art and lunch, and there is also therapist who's providing physical therapy and massage, like exercise.
Hmm.
So we already started little by little, but obviously you have to pay for specialists. So right now nobody donating, and it's getting harder, to continue our mission. So we're trying to look for new ways. We're doing events in Los Angeles for children and for Ukrainian community, and whatever food we make, or like face painting, this and that. So this money, we're all volunteering. So we collect this money, and then we're deciding, okay, this money gonna go for shipment, it's gonna go for therapy, this gonna go for the food for the dogs and cats. So this is basically what I do. And at the beginning of the war, there was a lot of immigrants coming from Ukraine. I'm sorry, a lot of people from Ukraine that was, escaping the war. And since everybody know me in Los Angeles, for some reason, everybody know me as, oh, I know everybody, so I can help out with something. So a lot of people start to call me for work.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So I send one person to one work, one person to another work. I was like, oh my God, I have to help this person. I have to find something. And I did. But then I was like, okay, there is like a lot of good people came, and some people get foolish too. Here some with the jobs and stuff. So I opened cleaning company, and I had 9 girls working at the cleaning clinic. We was providing cleaning services, but in December I decided to stop temporary. I don't know if it's temporary or not because it was too stressful for me. I didn't know that that we're gonna grow that
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm taking a break right now from that and focused more on nonprofit that I do.
Okay.
So if you would like to come to our event this Sunday in Ukrainian Cultural Center, there is Taras Grigorievich Shevchenko event. Bring your kids. We're gonna have a lot of childrens, and I'll be happy to see you. And it's good to remind people about our Ukrainian culture, and educate our children where they coming from. So I hope to see you and know and remember that if you're gonna purchase ticket to come, this is gonna be 100% donation to organization that 100% of them gives to support Ukraine.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I'll talk to my wife and see what we can do. And do you have a website or anything?
Yes, so our website is angelsofua.com,
Uh-huh.
and our Instagram angels underscore of underscore Ukraine underscore, and people also can find us on Facebook, Angels of Ukraine.
Okay. Maybe you can send me this. I can
Yes,
post.
so we could put it here.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just
Got
I'll
him.
just post it. Yeah.
Thank
I
you
mean,
so
yeah,
much.
cool stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was at your event. Remember when we just got from Texas to
It
LA?
was the best surprise when I saw
Yeah.
you. My jaw was like, I don't believe it's
Yeah.
you.
That was nice to see. I mean, again, LA changed so much. It used to be fun, not anymore.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully it's going to be fun
unfortunately.
again. I actually feel that the things are starting to improve. It's just I know it needs a little bit of more time. I mean, inflation is still huge, probably for another year or so.
I, I'm so happy we're on the same page. So I'm so happy that you're not brainwashed.
I'm not brainwashed. There's a
That
lot of
we
us who are
all,
not brainwashed, and I know. I trust me. I know that the pressure is huge, and I know you can't speak up your mind because you're right away either Russian or fascist or something like that. Either or, you just can't have a different opinion, and not just
you
opinion.
can have, yeah.
It's not just opinion itself. It's about intention also, because the intentions. We all want Ukraine to be in peace. Nobody wants to be Ukraine not in peace. And nobody wants Russia to invade Ukraine either. Ukraine should be a sovereign country and happy and be
Yes.
doing their own thing. That's having borscht and vareniki.
Yeah, I'm so sad. We have such a beautiful nation, and it's just so heartbreaking. And I really hope that any day is just gonna be peace and this war is over. And I'm very grateful that you invited me. I'm scared to talk,
I'm not that
because
scary.
I'm gonna get attacked. I don't want to get attacked.
No, it's
Um,
fine. I just think it's important that and my audience is also mixed. It's not just somebody for Trump it's not about even Trump. It has nothing to do with Trump, because I hate that media focuses on the person. It's about value.
we're just for family
Yeah,
values.
yeah,
Yeah,
just values. I want to have family. I want to go to the bathroom without thinking that I'm
exactly.
going to the
And
bathroom. I
you
just
know, maybe when we spoke about it like 10 years ago, when I was
yeah,
younger, maybe I would have different opinion. But when you have your child,
yeah,
your world completely changes. Your
yeah, I know.
state of mind, like everything is just. it's a different story.
Yeah, because it's not about you anymore. It's about the
Yeah.
children, and you want to see the
And
future.
their future.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
want to leave them the future that they have to be unhappy in. So it's just something. It's natural as a human being. I guess we need to. I mean, I see when I had my first son. That's the moment I realized what eternal life is. Because you see yourself in him. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what eternal life. We don't need a pill. We don't need to live forever. We have children for that. So, and it kind of opens up your mind right away. It's just you know, and we tend to focus on ourselves a lot, right? So children teach us to focus on bigger things that has nothing to
Yes.
do with you, and all you have to do is just make things better for them. And then you hope that they'll continue on, right? The eternity, basically, right? And I even do music differently now. I'm more honest with music. So because of my kids. I don't want to lie in music. And maybe it'll take me a year or two to create an album because I don't have much time now, but it's going to be most honest music.
By the way,
Yeah.
we should do fundraising event with you. You are
Sure.
so talented, and I've always been into your talent from the day
Let's do
one. I met.
fundraising. Yeah. Let's create cool concert and let's have people come in. Some
Yeah.
cookies. We'll put money into your efforts because I like what you do. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Of
for
course.
trusting me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's important that we stick together, because the world is so bad and evil these days. It's just everybody's angry, especially the Democrats now. It's just like they just label you, label. I think if they had the chance, they would kill everybody who's thinking differently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
That's why.
that's
Yeah.
just how
Yeah.
that's how they are. It's just the mentality of killing. It's like they don't like. They just want to destroy things. So I really don't like it. And I was never a Republican. I actually don't consider myself a Republican right now. I'm independent. But back in the day, let's say in the 90s, I would align myself with Democratic Party because it seems,
Yes, sir.
it's simple. Yeah, diversity. I lived in New York City. Like, yeah, what are you talking about? And Republicans seem to be very kind of
Too conservative.
conservative and kind of not interesting. And
I mean,
now I
there's
see.
in
Yeah,
each, there have pluses and minuses, and there's pluses
yeah,
and
of
minuses.
course. Yeah, yeah.
But right now, I feel like in the Republican, there is more pluses than in democracy because this is not the democracy I was supporting. It went too far, way too far.
Yeah.
That when I was for democracy, I was for democracy, not this is insane what start happening,
It's insanity. Yeah, it's not just you can't even say it's like left or right. It's insanity. It's basically if you're not together there in the head, that's what's going on. Yeah,
Exactly. This is
and
like
and they and they dictate what to do because if you don't become crazy as them, then they'll kill you basically essentially. So that's just going. It's sort of like humanity's self-destruction route, on the World War III and the whole thing. And thank God we're not there. And again, it happened only in America. Thank God we contribute to that because I became an American citizen 20 something years ago. I forgot what is it 22 years ago.
yeah,
And and before that I didn't actually before I became citizen I thought of America as quite different. And maybe you saw the same. Sort of
right,
like
yeah.
you become citizen, you become patriot, right? It's sort of like okay, well, it's my country now, so I have to think about it, right? So how I live here, and your mentality shifts, and you can't
Yeah,
explain this to
it,
anybody
it
unless you
is
went through that.
shifts.
Yeah,
And I hate those people who lives here and they're like talking bad about this country. I'm like,
yeah,
go if you're not happy. This is my second home, or it's already my first home since like I have family house here back home in Ukraine where I'm coming from now. I don't have anything there.
yeah.
So this is my home. I'm like, don't talk bad about my home. I love America, and America gave me so much opportunities and everything what I have right now. I would never have it in corrupted country.
Oh, not a
That I
chance.
love.
Not a chance.
I
I
love
mean,
I love Ukraine. My roots coming from Ukraine, but unfortunately, there is a lot of corruption going on, and I'm so happy that my mom took me from there, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, we all. I mean, it's not, as you know, it's not easy to come to America and start over. It's really hard.
it's not, and only the strongest ones stay here. The weak ones, they run
The weak
away.
ones leave, yeah, because you
You
have.
just have to understand America. And I hate when people say, "Oh, Americans are so stupid." No, they're not stupid. It's just like it's like a different planet. Our the brains, like we have different life. Completely, everything is just different. It's not
Yeah,
stupidity. It's just we're different.
yeah, yeah. All right, Angelika, I'll speak to you even more. Maybe we'll do that another time as well. Maybe we'll do that.
Oh my God, let's see what people say. If you would like to see me again, please click
Yeah,
subscribe and like.
I'll share your fun link and see, you know, if anybody wants to help. I'm super happy you helping with therapy for children. That's big for me. That's just big because I know what that is like, and the animals, obviously. You know, nobody
And
gets
for animals,
animals.
it's therapy too.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, this is my project. This is my dream project. And I'm gonna go to Ukraine. I'm gonna show everybody the place where we started it, and it's an
yeah,
amazing team, amazing animals, and the children are so cute too.
yeah.
Anyway, I'll show everything. I have a couple videos already and pictures that what we did, but when I go there, I'm gonna do like video, like it's so powerful. Anyways, okay. I was so
Well,
happy to see you. Please say
thank you,
hello to
Angelika.
your wifey and kisses to
Yes,
children and
yes. It's
in
gonna be
touch.
all good. Everything's gonna be all right. It's gonna be peace, prosperity, good music. Finally, not that shit popular music that's happening. We'll do
Oh,
good stuff.
oh my God. Don't
I
even
know, a
start with the
different topic.
music.
Yes.
Yeah, my kids is like, I'm like, turn this off.
Yeah, turn this off. Exactly. All right, Angelika. Love
Okay,
you. Hugs. We'll talk soon. I'll share this with you.
sounds good. Bye.